giving a second life to vintage peacock earrings. Welcome back to another episode of Handstamp jewelry making using the infinity block. I hope you enjoy this. For today's project, we will be using these tools and components. I will leave more information in the captions below. I've got a pair of vintage earrings that my manager Lori was able to find at an antique market. It says here that it is sterling silver from Mexico, and oh, it's signed WW. I don't know who created these, but they are beautiful. This is an inlay. I guess these are turquoise chips in like a cloisonne or some sort of resin. But these seem really old, and I don't know what happened here, but I guess at some point these got stepped on, and these were the kidney hook backings. So anyway, I am going to change these and make something very pretty. We are going to transform these. I am going to remove these hooks. I think there's no saving it. Oh, that came out fairly easily, otherwise I would have cut them. Okay. And then I was thinking, I could do something like this with a pattern, but I think I will make it raised a little bit. And I found this. This is a really nice motif, and it kind of reminds me of these feathers. I'm going to stamp it and then figure out if I want them to lay this way or if I want it to layer out laying this way. But we're going to stamp first and create unique earring hooks with this. To stamp and make the long earring hooks, I am using blank that has 50mm long pin that I'm going to form into an earring hook. But first I'm going to add the design on it, and this is a 7mm diameter blank. And don't worry too much if it is not completely flat, because what you can do is you can flatten it this way, and you're going to be hammering. So sometimes in hammering, you might not get it straight. You can straighten that out afterwards. Basically, the idea is we're going to put this in, we're going to stamp our design, and then shape it thereafter. And I'll decide what angle a little later. But if this is a square, then you probably want to mock it up a lot more clearly, because there'll be angles and you need to know which way this should point. But in this case, I'm just going to, because this is round, I can stamp it and then decide how I want to position it. Because I'm more visual, I like to first stamp my design onto this template and see the effect and see if I like it. And I have the soft version of this. But basically what I'm going to do is I am going to hammer this, and it's just on a pad of paper. You see? That's approximately what it's going to look like. And then I'm going to figure out that I think I like that very much, actually. Or I can hang it this way. But I think I think actually I really like that. Maybe I will form it a little later to see if I want to not have it completely circular. For example, I might want to shave a bit off like that to make it more pronounced. And then I'll drop it a little lower. That'll be really pretty, I think. I think that's what exactly I'm going to do. What I have here is my sandbag to reduce the vibrations, my infinity block, and all I'm doing here is I grabbed a little bit of masking tape. Any tape will do, actually, but I like it in darker color. And basically, I'm just going to roll this like such and puncture a hole. You can use an ice pick, pin, whatnot, little hole so that the pin can go through. And then I'm going to put it down like this, the hole. And there we have it. If there's a square, I would line it up so that the edges are good and straight. Then what I want to do is either mark a line, but I think on this or on the outside. And basically, I want to figure out where exactly I want it to sit. I basically want the whole thing inside here. And it is much easier if I don't go all the way to the edge, because I might. So I'll do this. So basically I'm lining it up and it will go here. And I want it to be centered. So basically, do your marks the way you want before hammering. Have a guideline and do it the same way for both. You can use a ruler, or if you happen to have one of these, you can get them inexpensively online or at the dollar store now. But there are these templates, and I'm just going to find, and it helps you get a center. Yeah, this is exactly 7 millimeters. And in this way, it's got the guidelines. Yeah. And I can mark it here as well. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this centered up and down like this. So I know where the tip is, and I'm going to center it like that. And then I am going to figure out, it will start, the tip will start right here. So I've marked these guidelines. It makes it a lot easier. And these lines can be removed afterwards. And the other thing is, what you can do is you can mark on the stamping punches so that you can use this as a guide, like such. I'm holding it tight, and then look on the other side. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I'm holding it still. I'm going to try to hit it up and down like this, so evenly, as opposed to be at an angle. This is a 2-pound weight. You want 1.5 to 2 pounds. So that's one strike, and I missed that. Okay, here we go. Okay. I really wanted one strike, but hey, doesn't really matter. Here's a problem. I bought this online, and I can't remember where I got it from. It's not deep etched. So basically what happens is it slips a bit. Whereas if it was carved and sharp, this would not have happened. It would have taken one strike without any slippage. But I'm going to show you up close what the effect is. I did scratch it a bit, so I'm going to show you how I fix it. This is slightly warped. I'm going to fix it, and then I'm going to smoothen out any sort of scratches that are unwanted. Basically, I put lots of paper here to protect it because this hammer surface is somewhat rough. So what that does is I hammer and this flattens out. It's a lot better. I'm going to show you before I take it off. Oh. And then I'm going to remove the lines using this. And then first I use this is the nail buffer. You've seen this in the other videos, but basically this is the high shine and this is the one just before high shine. And you can get these at salons or online supplies. That's good. Now you see the little line here that I don't like, right here. Mine is a lot better. And then high shine. I say always embrace the organic. If something is not perfect, and I might cut a bit of this like I was in my initial design. So actually that works out very well. I want it to be removed over there. So I'm not going to worry too much about this until after I cut it. And if it happens to be on the design, I don't like it, then I'll remove it. And that's one. I'm going to do the other before I go on to the next step. It's always good because you have muscle memory. If you are doing a pair, to do the same step for each one before moving on to the next step. Now I'm ready to do the next one, and I do the same thing. I'll reuse this, and if I've peeled it and it's off center now, then I can just redo the same step. I think I am just going to use, because this is centered. There we go. And don't worry if this is a bit dirty. As long as it's not gritty. If it's a bit tarnished, you're using something that's a little bit older, you're going to buff it away anyway. But you do want to remove any grit because that ends up being there when you hammer. So I'm just going to make sure that, and I'm going to now line things up. And I'm going to hammer. I'm going to hold still. Actually, that was easier than the first one. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing of straightening this out. So it needs to be cleaned. And again, I got a little warp on the same side. That's where my hand was bouncing. If you happen to have a big mistake, a pit or something, or a line, and you want to remove it, you can actually use something with a harder grit. So this is rougher file, and all I do is focus on that spot a bit more, like that. It's kind of like cover-ups with foundation. You do a little bit around it, and then you go around, flatten out a little bit more, and then blend in. So it's actually really satisfying to do. But basically you do this, use that to level it more, and then use this part to do it a bit more, and then you do the high shine last. I think I'm going to work on this little bit because that might be inside the round that cutout. I don't know yet, but I'm just going to work on it slightly more and then do my drawing and shave the edges to shape it so that it's not a perfect circle. The other thing is sometimes it's harder to hold on to it, so you can actually put this down and then file like this while you're holding this, or have it taped down, but you can do this, move it. I'm going to show you what it looks like. So you see, this, I really dinged this one up, but everything else has been removed. It's not as noticeable now, and actually I'm going to embrace it. So we're on to the next step. Just so that it's easy, I'm going to make another sticker. And I'm going to make sure that it is straight up and down, like this. I like to have things perpendicular. It makes it a lot easier so that when I line up the next one, I will know. And I'm going to basically, I've drawn the guidelines. I want it to be removed, some just narrowed out here and over there. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one, the side. It's kind of going to be like that, and I'm actually going to use a Dremel to create that, and those are just guidelines. I happen to have this Dremel, which you can get inexpensively on the internet. If you have a Fordham, even better, but this is heavier and it works. I also happen to have this sander, and it's just a bit. So basically, like this, you can purchase part of the accessories that came with this. And I chose this one because I like the curvature of this. I just basically want to grind this, end up here. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And so that is why I was saying it doesn't matter if I drew in a really, really good curve. Basically, I'm just going to use the same thing and hold on to it and grind this way. So if you don't have a Dremel, you might have the hand diamond file set. We sell them with 4, and this happens to be round one, but basically you can do it by hand. It'll take some elbow grease, but basically you take it off this way. Or you go down this way with your flat file and then round off with this, whichever is easier. But if you are interested in making different shapes, I suggest you invest in one of these. And I think I got this on sale. Yeah, I think it was $100, and it came with all sorts of accessories. Oops. Oops. Okay, this is not easy. I need to figure out a way to hold onto this better. And I think that might just work. But I might want to hold on to it at an angle so that I'm not grinding. I am at the slowest. I think I'm gonna maybe hold it down. Much better, holding it down like this. So this is what's happened. I'm holding on to this, gripping it, and it was spinning. So I'm going to push down like this while I do this. See if you can see that. And I'm just resting my hand. Let's see if I can focus. I'm just touching. There. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to rotate this and hold on. Make sure that I'm clearing. I'm not grinding against my pliers. Okay, so it's kind of like that. Actually, I find that now those lines are distorting things, and I want to see things clearly. So I'm going to remove the lines and see. So I need a lot more on this side, which I knew already because I only worked on this for a little bit. Okay. So if I was moving it back and forth, I get a straight line. If I just hold still and move inward, I get the same curvature as the circumference of that piece. So I kind of like that. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Like this, just hold still. So some rough edges, and just do this. Just run your fingers over it. Perfect. Okay, so let's put this one aside. Do the same on the other. Like I was saying, it's much easier if you did same steps for both before moving too much further. Okay, so now I'm going to do the next one. Okay, far better. We're just going to clean that up a little bit so I can see better. It's a bit sharp too. That's not too bad. Actually, I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to clean this up, and I think I like that. And then I'm going to match up to see about the colors. This is what I have, and I am very happy with those. They're still straight, and now I'm going to check. See, this is really antique-y, and this is very bright. I'm going to first clean this and see if I can match it. Failing that, if it doesn't get very bright, because unless you start taking a lot off, and I don't want to do that, then I'm going to antique this a little bit. So we'll see. So this is what it looks like. I'm just going to buff it a little bit. I don't know what that is. I'm not going to take too much off. And I like the antique effect. So what I'm going to do is just remove some of it on the back. Look at that. Is that pretty? I don't know what this is, but I'm going to take a little bit more off. Actually, I really like that now. See? Compared to this. But anyway, so then I'm going to do the front. But I think though, just buffing cleans it. Now, oh, it's pretty tough, so I can't bend it to flatten. And I'll use this side to get, because I don't want to damage the resin. Oh, it's beautiful. Just needed a bit of cleaning. So for that part, I'm just using a buffer. You can do the same thing using an eraser. Okay. If there are any scratches, use this side first. Look at. So I'm glad I didn't antique those earrings, the earring hooks, before doing this. And that was all just a little bit of buffing to take away the oxidation. And then I'm going to see about So actually, I'm not going to oxidize these, but I want this to stand out, the flower part. So let me finish cleaning both sides. See? And then we'll work on that. That's beautiful. Oh my goodness. These are gorgeous now. Okay. I do want it to hang. So I think I want it hang this way. And she told me she likes them long. So I'm going to pivot, drop it down, put a hook, and then this way. So basically it's like this. I want it to hang like this, and I look at it this way and decide on the depth. So what I'm going to do is hold on to it, support it right here, and I want it to go down this way. So I'm going to hold on to it just like this. The reason why you don't want to just bend is this has been soldered, and you don't want it to break, and also because that is the weakest point. This is the weakest point. The other thing is sometimes you want a little bit of room so that you can curve and this can pivot back depending on how heavy or the weight distribution of this is, your drop. So you want to give it some more room so that you can, depending on how it hangs, you might want to be able to pivot this way so that it faces forward. So that's what I like to do. And again, what we want to do is do both, the same step for both. And I'm going to hold on to it like here and then move this way. Okay. So and you have two like this. And this is where you want it to point to the bottom. So you make sure that it is perpendicular. This, and you straighten it out so that it's straight. Same thing with this. Adjust before the next step. This. Okay. Now we want to figure out, we want it to drop this much, and what we can do is mark it. If you happen to have something where it's exactly like these pliers, exactly the right depth, then that works. And actually, it's not a bad idea to do that, because you need to know that this will go like that. We'll hang it this way, and in fact, that works. I'm going to do that, actually. That makes it easier. If you don't have the exact length, or you want some length that's different, then I would use a ruler and use a marker, permanent marker, mark it, hold on to the same spot, and then bend. So, yeah, make sure. So because it is, you see, exactly the same length, and we will pivot this a little later so that it's both right and left are identical. So now I'm going to, using my round nose pliers, put this up. You see? Now you have this. do the same thing this side. I'm going to make sure both are the same. I'm more interested in the loop inside, the size inside. This part we can pivot later. So I think this is bigger than the other one. So, and where you hold, because this is graduated, where you hold on to it makes a big difference, because that will determine the size of the loop. And you might want to mark on your pliers where you want it to hold. This is what it's going to end up looking like, and I like that. And then we just want to bend this back. What we're going to do is use round nose pliers or something bigger and bend it. So I'm going to find a marker or something that is the right size. If you don't have a pair of pliers that is rounded and making different sizes jump rings, you can use the back of any instrument that is the right circumference, the right curvature for your earring hook. So it could be a marker, it could be anything. And in this case, I happen to have this to make round forms with. I've marked it as the curvature, the width I want. And because she wants to have very long earrings, I want to make sure that after the curve, there's enough so that she can put a stopper so that it will hang really long. So I've drawn a line here with my permanent marker just as a marking. And then what I'm going to do is match that with this right over top. And I'm going to press down. I'm going to hold it. And then this line is on top of the curve. We'll make sure it's on top of the curve. Move it a bit more. Okay. That is approximately what it'll look like. And before I finish it, on the same step, I'm going to do this on the other side. Good. I'm going to just check. This is when it's a good time to check right and left. This one hangs lower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it forward a bit and do that. Okay. And I'm going to just straighten things out later, but that looks better. Okay, so now I'm going to make sure that this is straight, and then I look this way to make sure that this is straight. And in this case, much easier to hold on to it like this, not with your fingers, and use chain nose pliers so that it is straight this way. And you hold on to it. So the reason why you want wider pliers is that it won't make a mark. Okay. I'm going to do the same step on this side and make sure that it's flat this way, so it's not like this, like that. Okay, and then good. Using these, I can close just a little bit, like such. So basically, I'm bending this part. Bending this part, it'll bounce back, you see? But if you bend this part, it stays in. Check. Make sure it still swings. Okay. Great. And lastly, what you want to do, you take this, bend it. That's a lot more finished that way, see? And then I'm just going to make sure that the right and left are the same. There we have it. And when I'm going to not right now because it's a strange angle. I'm going to lift them up to make sure that, and from here you can see that they hang really nicely. But I'm going to also have it close to her ear and see what she thinks. The other thing, you don't have to do this, but you see how this is oxidized on purpose for the beak, and it's in black. I'm going to do the same thing here, I'm going to put my marker in the crevice. You just want to do the whole thing, run it thoroughly over, and then take away the top. Okay, don't worry that my drawing is all over the place, because you do next is you take away what should not be there. And what's left is what's in the crevice. Pretty. Now that stands out more and it mirrors the black line here. It would have been nice if I hadn't done both, and so you can see the difference, but I like to do same step on both sides when I'm actually making things. Here are the beautiful earrings. And these are the finished earrings. And here are the earrings modeled by Lori. Let me know in the comments below whether you think I've done her antique earrings justice. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you did, please like and subscribe. Stones and Findings is a wholesaler of premium quality chains and findings, as well as the inventor of the Infinity Blok. I'm going to leave more information below about our company, as well as the Infinity Blok and the components I've used in this video.